Hello, friends. I'm back this week with another solo episode to talk about the astrology of the week beginning July 13th. So it's the 13th through the 19th. Um, this week, the big thing that's happening is we have a new moon on Tuesday. So this is the new moon in Cancer. As I say every single time, new moons occur when the sun and the moon are in the exact same spot in the sky. So it's a real concentration of whatever archetype's energy. And in this case, it's that concentration of the Cancerian energy. Cancer as an archetype talks about our emotional roots. It's our ancestry, our family, home, but like home, not a house. So, like the emotional, energetic sense of home and where we came from, what our roots are. It also talks about care. So, like the care we received and how we offer care. And the moon rules Cancer. So the moon is naturally at home in Cancer. So with this new moon, uh, like generally with any lunation, a new moon, a full moon, or whatever, the moon may be ruled by a different planet. That could be, anywhere in the chart. But with it being in Cancer, this new moon is ruled by itself. So we are like all in on that Cancerian archetype. It's a very emotionally sort of like intensifying, but also in like a freeing energy. Like a full moon tends to be intense in the extra way. This is a quieter energy because a new moon is always a quieter energy, but this really gets us deep into our emotional realm. And then this particular new moon is conjunct Mercury. So Mercury is also in Cancer at the moment, and Mercury is retrograde at the moment. So we get a little bit of that Mercury retrograde energy in this. So that's both creating a little bit of um, sort of disruption, slowdown, maybe confusion on the Mercury retrograde themes, and bringing in the unearthing, the reconsidering, the reevaluating that we have been doing throughout this retrograde. This new moon brings even more energy there. So this is very much a sort of going into the metaphorical like attic or basement, opening up the boxes, sort of looking at the things that may be forgotten, not fully discarded, but like sort of half buried in memory. So this new moon may bring up some emotional things. It may ask that we make room for some parts of ourselves or our history that have been sort of hidden in the shadow realms. It's also sitting square to Saturn over in Aries. And so we've talked over the last several months about Saturn and Aries, which is there's a bit of a disconnect between those two energies. And then that energy in this case is in tension with the moon. So that like practical, wanting to get into motion, wanting to take action, drive of Aries and Saturn with the, wanting to work and build is sitting and pulling against the energy of this new moon. So, at least for me, I see this as a bit of a like our broader transit with Saturn has us wanting to like rush ahead, build new things, create and like start. Um, and this new moon is sort of reminding us to pay attention to the ground upon which we're building It does no good to try and build something impressive on a rotten foundation. So while it might be frustrating, there is an invitation to check that the ground is solid. And if it isn't, tend to that. So the invitation this week is very much to make room for anything that might be bubbling up and asking for your attention anywhere, always anywhere, but particularly in that realm of personal ancestral history. All right, dears, thank you so much for tuning in. If this sparked anything for you, or if you have any questions or interests, I'm I would always love to hear about it in the comments. And I'll be back next week. Bye.